The Vijayanagara administration. Vijayanagara Empire was founded in 1336 AD and it survived for more than 2 to 3 centuries. Okay, more than for 3 centuries survive అయింది. So 3.5 అనుకున్నాం. Okay, it rose to prominence on the ruins of Chola, Kakatiya and the Hoysala dynasty. So as a result we find the administrative patterns or systems and the traditions of the three dynasties, that is Cholas, Kakatiyas and Hoysalas dynasties. Your administrative systems and traditions are incorporated into the administration of Vijayanagaras. Okay, so the important sources on the administration were Amukta of Sri Krishna Devaraya and Raya Vachakam and the writings of Portuguese chroniclers Nunes, Domingo Pais and Barbosa. So what were the important sources on the administration? Were Amukta of Sri Krishna Devaraya and Raya Vachakam and the writings of the Portuguese chroniclers Nunes, Domingo Pais and Barbosa. ఈ మూడు. Then at the central level, the emperor or the Chakravarti was assisted by a council of ministers called as Mantri Parishad. At the central level, the emperor or the Chakravarti, he was assisted by a council of ministers called as Mantri Parishad. Then it was headed by Mahamantri. Mantri Parishad was the council of ministers was headed by Mahapradhani. He was headed by Mahapradhani. Mantri Parishad. Then the decisions of the Parishads were not binding on the emperor. So these decisions are not binding on the emperor. The kingship may be defined as the benevolent despotism, which means the emperors exercising absolute power for the welfare of the subjects. The kingship may be defined as benevolent despotism ante emperor exercising the absolute power for the welfare of his subjects అని అర్థం. Then Rayasam అనేది it was the secretariat at the central level. Rayasam was the secretariat at the central level to dispatch the royal orders. For the secretariat at the central level to dispatch the royal orders was Rayasam. This Rayasam was headed by a chief secretariat. The secretariat Rayasam was headed by the chief secretary Mahanayakacharya. Chief secretariat of the Rayasam was Mahanayakacharya. Then provincial administration. Then for administrative convenience, the empire was divided into provinces called as mandalams, durgams and prantams. Mandalamga durgams and ప్రాంతాలుగా డివైడ్ చేశారన్నమాట ఫర్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటివ్ కన్వీనియన్స్. మండలాస్, దుర్గాస్ అండ్ ప్రాంతాలు. దెన్ దే వర్ రూల్డ్ బై Mahamandalatyaksha's were ruling the all these provinces అన్నమాట. The provinces were divided into nadus again and sthalas. They were governed by civil servants called as nayakas. Okay, the empire was divided into mandalas, durgas and prantas. These were ruled by Mahamandalatyaksha's. Again the province was again divided into province and a district. It was again divided into nadus and sthalas and these were governed by the civil servants. These were governed by the civil servants called as nayakas. Okay, then the nayaka system was the unique administrative system. It was Nayaka system and a unique administrative system. It was borrowed from the Kakatiyas. This Vijayanagara system of the Nayaka systems, it was unique. Nayaka system was unique system and it was borrowed from Kakatiyas. And the Nayakas were the civil servants selected purely on the basis of merit. Nayakas were the civil servants who were purely selected on the basis of merit and the discharged civil and military functions. The Nayakas, they discharged civil and military functions on the behalf of the emperor. So they were given laws called as lands. They were given the lands. మా వీళ్ళకి శాలరీగా ఏమి ఇచ్చేవాళ్ళు నాయకాస్కి they were given the lands called as amarams instead of salary. They were given lands called as uh, amarams instead of salaries. So at the village level, the Iyengar system was the unique system. At the district level, it was the Nayaka system. నాడుస్ని వాటిని స్థలాస్ని రూల్ చేయడానికి ఇట్ వాస్ నాయకా సిస్టమ్. అట్ ద విలేజ్ సిస్టమ్ ది అయ్యంగార్ సిస్టమ్ వాస్ ది యునిక్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటివ్ సిస్టమ్. సో దే వర్ ది అయ్యంగార్స్ వర్ the 12 hereditary village functionaries. So this Iyengar systemలో they were the 12 hereditary village functionaries. 12 hereditary village functionaries like the Reddis, head of the village. Reddy అనే అతను he was the head of the village. Karanikam was the accountant. Begara was the policeman. Talari was the watchman, etc. సో ఇట్లా 12 హెరిడిటరీ విలేజ్ ఫంక్షనరీస్ ఉండేవాళ్ళు. రెడ్డి వాజ్ ది హెడ్ ఆఫ్ ద విలేజ్, కరణికం వాజ్ ది అకౌంటెంట్, బెగారా వాజ్ ది పోలీస్మెన్ అండ్ ది తలారి వాజ్ ది వాచ్మెన్ ఎక్సెట్రా. సో దీస్ హెడ్ విలేజ్ ఫంక్షనరీస్ దే వర్ గివెన్ రెంట్ ఫ్రీ ల్యాండ్స్. రెంట్ పే చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, ఫ్రీగా ల్యాండ్స్ ఇచ్చేవాళ్ళు. రెంట్ ఫ్రీ ల్యాండ్స్ కాల్డ్ as Mirasi. They were given the rent free lands called as Mirasi, MIRASI instead of salaries. Okay, అదే పైన సివిల్ సర్వెంట్స్కి ఇచ్చే ల్యాండ్, నాయకాస్కి ఇచ్చే ల్యాండ్ వాజ్ కాల్డ్ as అమరం. ద విలేజ్ అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్లో వీళ్ళకి ఇచ్చే హెరిడిటరీ విలేజ్ ఫంక్షనరీస్కి ఇచ్చే ల్యాండ్ వచ్చి మిరాసి. ఓకే, ద రెవెన్యూ డెవలప్మెంట్ వాజ్ కాల్డ్ as Atharana. The revenue department was called as Atharana, and it was headed by an accountant, general accountant. He was headed by an accountant generally called as Mahakaranikam. Karanikam ante accountant. Chief accountant who heads the revenue department was called as Mahakaranikam. Okay, Atharana was the revenue department. So it was a revenue department and it was in charge of collecting the land tax. The revenue department is in charge of collecting the land tax called the Sistu అనే ల్యాండ్ ట్యాక్స్ కలెక్ట్ చేయడానికి అథరణ రెవెన్యూ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ and their accountant Mahakaranikam were in charge of all this. Then the Brahmins village was called as Agraharam, and Brahmadeya was the lands given. Brahmadeya was a land given to Brahmins. Then Amara village was under the administrative judiciary. అదే చెప్పింది, under the administrative judiciary. So under Cherariki and Bandaru Veda. And the military department, now military గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నా. The military department was called as Kandachera. So it was headed by a chief commander called as Mahadandanayaka. Military department was called as Kandachera, and the military department it was headed by a chief commissioner called as Mahadandanayaka. Then for internal security there were police officers called as Kavaliga and Dasa Karaliga and Dasa Karaliga. Police officers. The police officers for the internal security there were police officers called as Kavaliga and Dasa Kavaliga. From all-in-one military administration there was a well organized and efficient standing army undedi. They had a very well organized and efficient standing army all the time. It consisted of cavalry, infantry, artillery and the infantry, cavalry, artillery and elephantry corps. Then hybrid horses were procured from foreign merchants. Then different grades of officers were there in the army also. The top grades being the Nayakas or the Palegarlu, Palegars. There were different grades of officers present in the army. So then the top grades were the Nayakas. Then in addition to the regular standing army, armies of the vassals of feudatory kings, the governors and the feudal levices also assisted the king whenever necessary. So not only standing army, armies of the vassals, governors and feudal levices also assisted the king whenever necessary. In fact, some of the Nada Prabhus, in fact some of the Nada Prabhus అనేవాళ్ళు rulers of Nadus or sub-district. Nada Prabhus అంటే rulers of Prabhuవులు of Nadus, rulers of Nadus or sub-district. Some of the Nada rulers, Nada Prabhus like Gaudas of Bengaluru. Gaudas of Bengaluru, they practically protected the boundaries from foreign invasions and even in suppressing the defiant provincial governors and vassals. So వాళ్ళలో Gaudas, Nada Prabhuslo, Gaudas of Bangalore, they protected the boundaries from foreign invasions. Okay, and they suppressed the ఎవరైతే feudal ప్రొవిన్షియల్ గవర్నర్స్ అండ్ వెజల్స్ ఉంటారు కదా, ఎవరైతే ఎదురు తిరిగారో వాళ్ళందరినీ గవర్నర్స్ అండ్ వెజల్స్ని సప్రెస్ చేశారు. దెన్ ఆర్డినరీ సోల్జర్స్ ఆఫ్ ది రాయల్ ఆర్మీ వెర్ యూజువలీ పెయిడ్ ఇన్ క్యాష్, బట్ బిగ్ ఆఫీసర్స్ లైక్ పాలెగాళ్ళు దే వర్ గ్రాంటెడ్ ది టెరిటరీస్ ఆర్ అమరమ్స్ని ఇచ్చేవాళ్ళంట పాలెగాళ్ళకి విత్ అ ఫిక్స్డ్ రెవెన్యూ ఇన్ లిeu ఆఫ్ their salaries, with a fixed revenue in the lieu of their salaries. So ordinary soldiers of the royal family were usually paid in cash, but the big officers like Palegalu were granted amarams or territories with fixed revenue in the lieu of their salaries. Then judicial administration. Justice was administered by civil courts called as ధర్మస్థేయాస్ అనేది సివిల్ కోర్ట్స్ అనమాట. జస్టిస్ వాజ్ అడ్మినిస్టర్డ్ బై ద సివిల్ కోర్ట్స్ కాల్డ్ as ధర్మస్థేయ. The magistrates were called as Pradvivakas అనేవాళ్ళు అంటే the magistrates were called as Pradvivakas. They were appointed by the state. Pradvivakas were appointed by the state. Then generally the village panchayats, they disperse the justice. Okay, usually the village panchayats are not, they disperse the justice. Then according to Nunis, the punishments were very severe. According to Nunis, the previous వాళ్ళు ఉన్న ఫ్యూడల్ ల్యాండ్స్గా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆ కాకతీయాస్, చోళాస్, హొయసాలస్ వాళ్ళ పనిష్మెంట్స్ అంతా కూడా చాలా సివియర్గా ఉండేది. సో అట్ ద టాప్ లెవెల్లో ధర్మస్థేయాస్ అనేది కోర్టు, ప్రద్వివకాస్ అనేది మ్యాజిస్ట్రేట్స్ అపాయింటెడ్ బై ద స్టేట్. Then village panchayats also disperse the justice. Then from all-in-one judicial administration, the king administered the justice impartially. He presided over the Sabha, the highest court of appeal. He presided over the Sabha. Sabha is the highest court of appeal. Then regular courts for administering the justice were also there in different parts of the empire. They were headed by hierarchy of the officials. Okay, Dharma Shastralu generally formed the basis on which the cases were decided. Dharma Shastras, they formed the basis on which the cases were decided. The Smriti of Yajnavalkya Rishi and the code of Purasara. Yajnavalkya Smriti and the code of Purasara were accepted as the guiding principles whenever genuine doubts arose. Purasara's code of Purasara, these were the, and Yajnavalkya Smriti were the guiding principles whenever genuine doubts arose. So there were also village courts, caste panchayats, village courts ఉండేవి, caste panchayats and guild organization to dispose of the petty offences like violation of the caste rules and rules of the trade, etc. So rules of the trade kuchi guild organizations ఉండేది to dispose the justice. Caste rules kuchi caste panchayats and village courts. Then harsh punishments were inflicted. For instance, decapitation, mutilation and throwing to elephants were quite common. So according to Nunis, all the punishments were very much severe. And then Revenue administration. The chief sources of revenue. Land revenue from the crown lands. Land revenue was the main source of income from the crown lands. Then tributes and gifts from vassals and the feudal chiefs. Tributes and gifts from the vassals and feudal chiefs. Then flourishing seaports brought huge wealth. Flourishing seaports brought huge wealth. Then customs collected at these ports and the tolls on the inland commerce were also important sources of revenue. ఏదైతే కస్టమ్ డ్యూటీస్ కలెక్ట్ చేసేవాళ్ళు at these ports on the foreign goods and the tolls collected in the inland commerce were important sources of revenue. Then the taxes on various professions, taxes వేసేవాళ్ళు on various professions, house tax, markets tax and licenses. వీటిపైన వచ్చే money was source of income. Taxes on the various professions, houses, markets and licenses. Then fines inflicted by the courts were also an important source of income. Fines that were inflicted by the court were also an important source of income. So ఏమంటే land revenue, tributes and gifts, then for import huge flourishing seaports, imports మీద వేసే customs duty, and then taxes on professions, houses, so markets and licenses, and the fines inflicted by the court on him. Then collection of land revenue. Land revenue was collected on the basis of the first assessment of the land, which was fixed as after they collected on the basis of assessment, then fixed the revenue after the careful survey. Okay, its rate varied accordingly to the nature of the cultivated land or non-cultivated land. The nature of the revenue, but it was fixed on the basis of the crop cultivation and the quantum of the yield obtained. The crop cultivation పైన and the quantum ఎంత yield వస్తుంది, ఏం క్రాప్ కల్టివేట్ చేస్తున్నారు దానిపైన డిపెండ్ అయ్యేది అనమాట ట్యాక్స్ ఇంపోజిషన్. జనరలీ 1/6 of the gross produce was collected as the land revenue, but sometimes it was even raised to half. So items of expenditure as suggested in the Amukta Malyada, the income of the state was divided into 4 parts. Income of the state was divided into 4 parts according to Amukta Malyada. First one was personal charities and personal expenditures of the king. First one వచ్చేసి personal expenditure of the king and personal charities. Next one వచ్చి maintenance of the horses. Third one military conquest, and the last one greater part of the revenue for the progress and security of the empire. Thus items of expenditure was divided into 4 parts according to Amukta Malyada. ఒకటేమో personal expenditure of the king, personal charities, then the maintenance of horses, military conquest, and next one is greater part was the revenue was a purpose and the progress and security of the empire anamata. Then now we go to the decline. What are the drawbacks of the administrative system? So it was a very much centralized empire requiring an efficient and able leadership at the center. As and when weak successors came to the power, the system witnessed crisis. This Vijayanagara administration అనేది it was a very much centralized administration. It was a centralized empire, so it required efficient and the able leadership at the center. And when weak rulers came to power, the system witnessed the crisis. Then the administrative system, it depended too much upon the support of the nayakas. Nayakas మీద ఎక్కువ డిపెండ్ అయింది. This administrative system, they depended mostly on the support of the nayakas. So this obviously made the nayakas more powerful and highly assertive. And the nayakas masterminded major conspiracies. The nayakas ఉన్నారు కదా, they masterminded major conspiracies when Sangama and the Salwa dynasties were dethroned. So the nayakas masterminded major conspiracies when the Sangama and Salwa dynasties అనేది they were dethroned. The state thrived more on the excess of taxation due to its frequent wars. Okay, the state లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళు పైన excess of taxation వేసేవాళ్ళు due to frequent wars. So due to this, the financial burden was more on the people. financial burden more on people. The state failed to secure the confidence and the support of the people. The state later it failed to secure the support and confidence of the people. Then in the administration, the loyalty of the Nayakas was more to the king rather than to the state. In the administration also, uh, the the loyalty of the Nayakas was more to the king than to the state. The officers they kept changing as and when new king came to the power, causing dislocation in the administrative system. So ఎప్పుడైతే ది అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ మారేదో ఇన్ ద అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్ ఆఫ్ loyalty of the Nayakas was more to king than to state. Okay, loyalty of the Nayakas was more to king than to state. Kabatti officers kept changing whenever the new king came to the power, so causing the dislocation in the administrative system. నౌ ఇవి డ్రాబ్యాక్స్ ఏవేవి నాయకాస్కి ఎక్కువ ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఇవ్వడం, వాళ్ళు కన్స్పిరసీస్లో పాల్గొన్నారు అండ్ దానివల్ల తగ్గిపోయింది అండ్ ఎక్కువ వార్స్ ఫైట్ చేయడం వల్ల ఎక్సెస్ ట్యాక్సేషన్ పడింది. సో కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ అండ్ సపోర్ట్ ఆఫ్ పీపుల్ ఇట్ వాస్ లాస్ట్, ఫినాన్షియల్ బర్డన్. దెన్ ఆ తర్వాత అడ్మినిస్ట్రేషన్లో ఏమంటే లాయల్టీ ఆఫ్ ది నాయకర్స్ వాస్ మోర్ టు ద కింగ్ దాన్ టు ద స్టేట్. సో దానికంటే ఎప్పుడైనా ఎప్పుడు కింగ్ మారినా వీళ్ళు మారిపోయేవాళ్ళు. సో దే హ్యాడ్ టు మోర్ కాన్సన్ట్రేషన్ and dislocation of the causing the dislocation of administrative system. Okay, then decline of the Vijayanagara Empire. The Vijayanagara Empire, it was founded in 1336. It was reigned supreme in the history of the south for more than 3 centuries. For more than 3 centuries it reigned supreme in the south. So its glory ended with Talikota battle in 1565. Its glory ended in the Battle of Talikota in 1565, otherwise called as Rakkasi Tangadi battle. So the downfall was due to the internal and external drawbacks. Both downfall was due to both internal and external drawbacks. So internally the empire were very often it was facing the problem of succession. The empire often it was facing the problem of succession after the death of Sri Krishna Deva Raya. His son-in-law Ramaraya, Aliya Ramaraya, he became the de facto ruler. Aliya deposed the Achyutaraya. He deposed into Baladaga throne nunchi kindaki laagadu. He deposed the Achyutas and he made Sadashiva as the ruler. Achyutaraya thesis, so he made Sadashiva Raya as the ruler. Then Aliya Ramaraya, he followed divide and rule policy against the Bahmani states. He tried to play one Muslim ruler against the other. He got the Sultan of Golconda. Ibrahim Kuli Qutub Shah, defeated by the Sultan of Bijapur. This is Kuli Qutub Shah, Ibrahim Kuli Qutub Shah ni Sultan of Bijapur defeat chesela chesadu. Later he got the Sultan of Bijapur defeated by the Sultan of Ahmednagar. So his dangerous policy of divide and rule made the Bahmani state except Berar form into a confederacy against the Vijayanagara Empire. Except Berar tappa mita andaru confederacy form against the Vijayanagara Empire. So with the death of Aliya in the battle of Ginori in the battle, ఈ తల్లికోట బ్యాటిల్లోనే అతను అలియా రామరాయ చనిపోయాడు. The glory of the empire ended. The other major cause for the defeat of Vijayanagara was that Aliya Ramaraya he could not command the support of all the Nayakas in the hour of crisis. In the hour of crisis, Ramaraya he could not command the support of all the Nayakas. So his arrogant and ambitious nature it made the Nayakas to drift away from the Aliya. His arrogant as ambitious nature made the Nayakas to drift away from the Aliya. So in other words, the war was not fought with full rigor and strength of the Vijayanagara army. The war was not fought with full rigor and strength of Vijayanagara army. So another suicidal mistake committed by Aliya was reposing faith in the Muslim commanders. So reposing faith. Okay, the same commanders joined the conspiracy in killing Aliya. So that's what the suicidal mistake made by Aliya was, trying to play the Muslim commanders against each other. So the same commanders they all joined the conspiracy in killing Aliya. And then in the external front, the Vijayanagara army, it depended on the support of Portuguese, particularly in commanding the artillery forces. So in external front, what was the problem is the Vijayanagara army, it depended on the support of the Portuguese, especially in commanding the artillery guns అవి యూజ్ చేయడంలో విజయనగర ఆర్మీ అనేది it took the support of Portuguese అనమాట. వాళ్ళ మీద డిపెండ్ అయింది. సో ది absence of the Portuguese in the battle of Talikota, absence of Portuguese in the battle during Talikota added to the problems of Vijayanagara armies. So above all these, alias overconfidence, then misjudgment and the lack of support system, okay, from the people, a lack of support from the people also proved disastrous, finally ending the glory of the empire. Then Vijayanagara society, the major social developments which actually started from times of Cholas continued to affect the social formation of Vijayanagara empire also. Major social developments, okay, which have started during the time of Cholas, it continued to affect the social formation of Vijayanagara empire also. Then Sanskritization, a process by which the lower castes tried to promote their social status by imitating the customs, language and rituals of the upper class అనేది. All this Sanskritization, it started from the Chola times, it still continued. So Sanskritization అంటే ఏంటి? It is a process by which the lower caste అనేవాళ్ళు they tried to promote their social status by imitating the customs, languages and the rituals of the upper class. This is Sanskritization. So Sanskritization, which started from the Chola times, it continued. As a result of Sanskritization, new subcastes form అయ్యాయి, like Vishwa Brahmins. New subcastes like Vishwa Brahmins, they formed in the society. Then the right hand and the left hand caste conflict, otherwise called as Idangai, right-handed agriculturists, and Vedangai, left-hand professional classes. They started for the social status. So the right hand and the left hand caste conflict, otherwise called as Idangai అంటే రైట్ హ్యాండ్ అగ్రికల్చరిస్ట్ అండ్ వెడంగై అంటే లెఫ్ట్ హ్యాండ్ professional classes. They started fighting for claiming for the social status. Then the Devadasi system, the system of temple dancing girls, the Devadasi system also continued to flourish as a major social event. Then the prostitution thrived as an industry. ఇప్పుడు కూడా సేమ్ ద ప్రాస్టిట్యూషన్ అనేది ఇట్ థ్రైవ్డ్ యాజ్ అన్ ఇండస్ట్రీ. అకార్డింగ్ టు ద పోర్చుగీస్ క్రానిక్లర్ నునీస్, ద taxes on the brothel houses constituted the third major source of income to the state. Okay, and with that the state even maintained even police department, and with that the state even maintained, with the taxes, so it even maintained a police department. Prostitution అనేది it thrived. Prostitution thrived as an industry. According to Portuguese chronicler Nunes, the taxes అనేది it was applied on brothel houses also. Taxes on brothel houses. So these taxes on brothel houses, it constituted the third major source of income for the state, and with that they even maintained a police department. So prostitutes were given respectable position in the society. Position in the society. Other social evils like Kanya Sulkam and purchasing the bride. Other evils like Kanya Sulkam and the custom of Sati also continues. So other evils like Kanya Sulkam and the custom of Sati also continues. Nunes gives a graphic account on the custom of Sati. Nunes gives a graphical account. Then education flourished with the different parts of the South India. Education flourished well in different parts of South India. Then Tribhuvanam, Madurai, Tanjore, and Srisailam and Kanchi were the main centers of learning. Tribhuvanam, Madurai, Tanjore, Srisailam, Kanchi were the main centers of learning. So in the religious square, both Shaivism and Vaishnavism they flourished. In the religious square, both Shaivism and Vaishnavism flourished. The Sangama dynasty followed Shaivism, where as a result of dynasty, whereas the rest of the dynasty followed Vaishnavism. Okay, the Sangama dynasty వాళ్ళు హరిహర బుక్కరాయ వాళ్ళందరూ వచ్చి till Devaraya and all they followed Shaivism, but the rest of the dynasty followed Vaishnavism. Okay, then by and large the state followed the principles of secularism. By and large the state followed the principles of secularism. Then Quran was respected by the Devagiri Raya, and he constructed a mosque for the Muslims and he employed them in the army. Quran was respected. They were secular. They Vijayanagara rulers they followed the principles of secularism. Quran was respected by Devagiri Raya too, who constructed a mosque for the Muslims and also he employed them in the army. Then Venkatapati Raya, he constructed a church for the Portuguese at Vellore. Venkatapati Raya, he constructed a church for Portuguese at Vellore. Then according to Nunes, the society celebrated festivals, particularly Krishnashtami and Mahar Navami in the great gaiety and pomp and gaiety. According to Nunes, the society celebrated the festivals like Krishnashtami and Mahanavami Dibba undi kada, Mahar Navami and Krishnashtami in great pomp and gaiety. Then from all in one caste system గురించి ఎవరెవరు ఏమేమి చెప్పారో చెప్తాం. caste system. Allasani Peddana in his Manu Charitram he mentions the 4 castes that existed in the Vijayanagara society. Allasani Peddana in Manu Charitram he says about the 4 castes in Vijayanagara society. And Viprulu ante Brahmins. Viprulu followed the traditional profession of teachers and priests. Viprulu or Brahmins, they followed the traditional profession of teachers and the priests. So they also sometimes performed the duties of the soldiers and administrators also. So Brahmins, they also sometimes perform the duties of soldiers and administrators also. So this is confirmed from the narration of Domingo Pace. So this is confirmed from the narration of Domingo Pace. Em cheppadu, Brahmins or Viprulu, they followed that traditional profession of teachers and priests, sometimes they were soldiers and administrators. Then Rajulu or Kshatriyas, they were generally associated with the ruling dynasty, assisting them in matters of the state and welfare. Kshatriyas were the ruling dynasty, so assisting them in the matters of the state and warfare, assisting the Brahmins in the state and warfare, ruling and warfare. So probably most of the nobles and men are ranked below to this caste. So in probability most of the nobles and the men of rank they belong to this caste. Then Matti Karatalu or Vaishyas. Matti Karatalu or the Vaishyas అనేవాళ్ళు, they were same as the merchants who carried on trade and commerce. Then Nalavajativaru or the Shudras were mainly agriculturists. But some of them carried on several other professions also, Sudras. So they were not segregated through, though considered inferior. They were not segregated from the caste system, though they were considered as inferior. Then Barbosa's account relating to the society is very interesting but confusing. So he says that villages in the empire were inhabited by Hindus and a few Muslims. Okay, Barbosa accounts relating to society and very interesting but confusing. He says that villages in the empire were inhabited mainly by the Hindus and a few Muslims. So there were Kshatriyas, Brahmins, Veerasaivas among Hindus అని చెప్పి చెప్పాడు అన్నమాట బార్బోసా. They were Kshatriyas, Brahmins and Veerasaivas among Hindus. He says that the king belonged to the Kshatriya caste. Polygamy was observed by them and their women observed sati. Polygamy was observed by the rulers and their women observed sati. Brahmins were the priests in charge of the temple worship. Brahmins were the priests who were in charge of temple worship. They were also vegetarians. So also the Veerashaivas who wore the symbol of their god around their neck. So వీరశైవులు అంటే who wore the symbol of their god అంటే లింగాన్ని వేసుకున్నారు వాళ్ళ నెక్ చుట్టూ. వీరశైవిజం started by Bashaveshwara. They wore the lingam on their left shoulder. So they were also vegetarians. Brahmins also vegetarians. They were priests in the temple. Other castes like Vaishyas and Shudras were also there, and Jainas also formed an important section of the population. Then position of the women, education and learning. Ganga Devi, wife of Kampanna, wrote Madhura Vijayam. And Hannamma, who was a prominent scholar in the court of Praudadeva, Praudaraya or Praudadevaraya. Hannamma, she was a eminent scholar in the court of Praudadevaraya. And Tirumalamma. Tirumalamma was a distinguished poetess in Sanskrit in Achyutaraya's period. Tirumalamma ane amma, she was a distinguished poetess in Sanskrit. Distinguished poetess in Sanskrit in the court of Achyuta Devaraya. And then Timmaka was the first poetess, and she was wife of Annamaya. అండ్ సాల్వ నరసింహ కోర్టులో ఉన్నింది ఆమె టైంలో రాసింది. దెన్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ ఇన్ ద సొసైటీ. అకార్డింగ్ టు నునీస్ large number of women were employed in royal palaces as dancers, domestic servants and the palanquin bearers. అంటే పల్లకి మోసేవాళ్ళుగా డొమెస్టిక్ సర్వెంట్స్ డాన్సర్స్గా ఉండేవాళ్ళు అనమాట మోస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది విమెన్ అకార్డింగ్ టు నునీస్. సో దే ఆల్సో వేర్ అపాయింటెడ్ యాజ్ అకౌంటెంట్స్, జడ్జెస్, bailiffs and the watch women. Women were also appointed as the accountants, judges and watch women. Then custom of Devadasi, the practice of dancing girls attached to the temples was also in vogue. Okay, custom of Devadasi was in vogue. From the account of Domingo Pace, we learn that Devadasis held a highly respectable position in the society, and they were given land grants, and they were given maid servants, jewelry, etc. So Devadasis were given land grants, maid servants, jewelries, etc. And then religion. Early Vijayanagara rulers were followers of Saivism. They followed Saivism, and Virupaksha was their family god. Virupaksha was their family god. Later on they came under the influence of Vaishnavism, but Shiva continued to be worshipped. Vaishnavism was professed in various forms. So Sri Vaishnavism of Ramanuja was highly popular, and Dvaita Siddhantam of Madhava was also practiced largely. And epics and Puranas were popular among the masses, especially they served as a means of education among the women. Epics and Puranas, they served as a means of education for the women, and Jainism also were followed by people.